Hello everyone, and welcome to the Rising Heat Speedrun Guide. This is by far the most difficult stage in all of the speedrun stages added to Astro Bot, so I'm going to give you everything you need to know in order to get your time as low as possible. That will include how to increase your climbing speed, along with the platforming sections, which are just as important in order to further reduce your time. So this guide is going to be a little longer than normal, so let's go ahead and get started. First, as always, you can change your controls if you so desire in your system settings. If you want to change the controls so that way it makes it more comfortable for you, you'll want to go into your system settings, go down to accessibility, and then go down to controllers, go to custom button assignments for DualSense wireless controller, click enable custom button assignments, go down to custom button assignments, and then from here you can choose whatever you want to make your controls. And for me personally, I don't really change mine, but if you do, just pick your trigger buttons for the climbing and then select whatever buttons you want to use and then hit apply. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit disabled because I actually use the triggers for this stage, and I'll show you why a little bit later. And there's one other important thing we want to do. So also here in this controllers menu, in the accessibility menu, we want to go down to trigger effect intensity. If you have not changed this, this could be a key as to why you're not able to get your time down as much. For me personally, I just turn this off because I don't like any resistance whenever I'm trying to climb, and it makes it a lot easier to climb faster, and also it doesn't wear out your fingers as much. So these are two things you want to consider. Some people actually like to change theirs to weak. Like I said, me personally, that's not my preference. You should experiment with it and figure out what setting you like and use that. One other thing to consider is that you can change the controls if you want from the motion sensors to the left joystick. This is much slower than using the motion sensors of the controller, so I would recommend not using this. But if you want to, you can. And when you're climbing, you just have to alternate between the triggers. But whenever you get to a bar, you're going to need to use the left stick in a motion in order to swing from it. Now, as I said, I don't use the controller assist. I use the actual gyroscopes of the controller because I find it is much faster and a lot more consistent. And if you notice that whenever I'm doing this, the game teaches you that you should keep the controller flat and tilt it left and right in order to climb. I don't do this. I actually hold the controller vertical, face up to where the buttons are actually facing me. And then I just tilt the controller left and right as I hit the triggers. And the way I like to think about it is whichever side is up, I press and hold that trigger and then pull the controller down as I'm letting go of the opposite trigger. And once the opposite side goes up, I do the same thing in reverse, and I just constantly do that. And that's how I mentally think about climbing. Now that we have our controller situation handled, we need to talk about exactly how we're going to cut down as much time as possible. So clearly, climbing up the bananas is going to be one of the key factors in cutting down our time. But the platforming section is just as important, and I will go over those as we arrive to them in the stage. So the biggest key here is we want accuracy. You may think that speed is what you need in order to get a good time on the stage, but it actually is not. It is important, but what is more important is that you do the minimum amount of climbs that you need to in order to clear this stage. So if you get hung on a banana, it's going to cost you quite a bit of time. It may not seem like it, but you may lose about 1/5 to 1/3 of a second on each climbing mistake. So we also need to talk about what path we're going to take, which also includes which climbing path we're going to take as well, since there are some sections that we can skip and some bananas that we can skip. And what I'm including in these numbers here is not only the bananas that you can climb, but also the very last bar you climb, which gives you a big jump, and the bars that you can swing from as well. So in each climbing section, there are 4 here you have to grab, 6 here, 7 here, 2 here, 17 here, 19 here, 9 here, and then one last one so you can end the stage. Now I stated that I was going to give some tips on how to increase your climbing speed, And as I said at the very beginning, that accuracy is the most important part of this stage. And what I mean by that is that if you are doing the 65 optimal grabs to end this stage as early as possible, then you have the consistency and accuracy that you need to slowly keep building your speed and do those 65 grabs and constantly bring your time down even lower. So how are we going to increase our climbing speed? My topmost tip to give you is to use a metronome. You can download one on your phone. They're super easy to get a hold of. And honestly, that is one of the best ways to create consistency because it gives you into a rhythmic state and just constantly go and climb whenever you hear a tick from the metronome. Trust me, this is an amazing strategy to constantly get better and faster at this stage. So we know there's going to be 65 parts that we have to grab. So let's say you go at 60 beats per minute. That means it's going to take you 65 seconds to get through each climbing section throughout this stage. And that, in my opinion, probably isn't a good place to start. I just kind of wanted to mathematically show you how this works. And to me, a good starting point would probably be somewhere between 120 to 180. So what you should do is that you should start on one of those speeds, let's just say 120. And then if you hit all 65 grabs without a single mistake, bump up the speed a little bit and just keep going until you get to a point where you start making mistakes. And then go back and get comfortable with doing the one before that a lot, and then come back and bump it up a little bit after that. I would say, honestly, bump it up somewhere between 10 to 20 beats per minute every time you're building your speed, because you don't want to overwhelm yourself, but you also don't want to make the increments so small that it takes a long time to get through it. Also, here's a formula for you if you want to know how fast you're climbing at your current BPM. So we take 60 seconds per minute, and then we're going to divide that by whatever BPM you're climbing at. So let's say it's 180. And then we're going to take that answer and multiply it by the 65 grabs you have to do. And at 180 BPM, that would give you 21.6 repeating in this case. And remember that 21.66 seconds is strictly for the climbing part, and that does not include the platforming section of this stage. So here's a run of me going at 320 beats per minute, just to show you that you can still get a really low time even at that speed. So to begin, we want to start on the left side of this starting position. That is so that way we can jump on top of this higher ledge, and then we're going to grab a banana higher than what we normally would be able to in order to climb less bananas. So it might be a little hard to see, but whenever I start the stage, I actually have my right side of the controller tilted down and the left side tilted up, so that way I can immediately do a grab on the first banana that I need to grab. So as soon as we start, we're going to run out, and like I said, we're going to start on this left side, jump on the edge of this high cliff above you, and then you're going to do a full jump and a hover. And if you look at this banana to the left, you'll see that it has an outline and it starts doing this kind of rainbow gradient pattern. When you see that, you can grab the banana to the right above you at this moment. So once you see that, go ahead and start doing your grab and then start climbing up. Once you grab the top bar, Astro is going to get launched in the air. So you need to do a mid-air spin and then a hover. And then we want to have the controller tilted down in the same motion, the right side down, left side up. And then you're going to want to grab with the left trigger this time instead of the right trigger. And when you do that, once you reach the top bar on this section, you're going to need to do a mid-air spin. And then as Astro is falling, you can use either the right or left trigger. I usually use the right one, so that way I can go more left of this button. And then you're going to want to slam this button in order to spawn this platform. And make sure you're not standing on the button because the button will sink into the floor and that will put you at a lower elevation. Make sure that you're on the edge of the button because this section does not go down and it'll actually raise you a little higher, which will make jumping onto this platform that just spawned a lot easier. So in order to jump on this platform, you're going to want to do a full jump and a hover, and then once you do that, immediately jump to the left to grab this first banana over here and then climb up this section. So if you want to try another path, there is a different way to go about this without hitting the button. So what you want to do is you want to run beside the button, and then you're going to want to jump on this little small ledge piece that's a little higher, and then you're going to do a full jump and then a spin, and if you do it just right and hit this dead bird, it's going to actually push you up a little bit. Once that happens, just start doing a hover, and then you just kind of have to know the timing since you can't see this banana above you, but if you get it just right, you can grab it and then start climbing. In my testing and experience, it seems that the timing between jumping on the platform and then using this dead bird to push you up a little bit seems to be about the same timing, to be honest. There doesn't seem to be any difference whatsoever. So I would just say just pick whichever one you like the most and then stick with that. We now have this section where we need to grab this moving banana that's going left and right on the right side, and then immediately grab the bar whenever we grab that banana. It can be a little difficult at first when you're trying to learn this, but once you get it down, it is super easy and you will hit it almost every single time once you get it. So if you notice, I initially hold the left side of my controller down and the right side up. That's so that way I can grab the bar immediately once I grab this banana. So you need to do a full jump and a hover toward this banana that's moving left and right. And what I like to look for is I look at this gray metallic line right in the middle. And as the banana is getting close to touching it, that's whenever I hold the left trigger down to grab it. And then immediately afterwards, just like 3 or 4 frames afterwards, I use the right trigger to grab the bar. And that will immediately put you up to this next section. Sometimes if you're lucky, whenever you're climbing up this section after jumping on the platform or jumping over the dead bird, you'll grab the bar above you with your right hand, which will actually put you even closer to that moving banana. And so you can actually grab this bar a lot earlier than normal and save quite a bit of time. After you've grabbed that bar and launched yourself up to the next section, what you want to do is you want to go slightly to the left, but also kind of keep it in a straight line if you can. And you want to jump over these little bot animals as well, because you don't want to graze the wall or hit them, and that will cost you some time because you will get held up. You will then do a jump, and then you're going to want to do your lasers from the hover in order to push this platform up, so that way we can grab a higher banana than normal. So as I jump off this platform, I already have my controller with the left side tilted down, so that way I can grab this left banana first and then start climbing up. Now if you're going at a really fast pace, you'll notice that this wall probably won't make it to you yet where you can grab that banana. If that is happening to you, do not keep trying to do a climb to grab as early as possible. Just sit at the very top and then wait for it to get in range. You'll know you can grab it because this next banana you can grab will start having that rainbow gradient outline on it. So it is better to get used to waiting on it and then grabbing it the moment you can than to spam the triggers and trying to go for it, because most likely what will happen if you try to do that, you're going to get stuck trying to climb this moving wall. Once you reach the top, you're going to swing from this bar, and you have 2 paths to take here. Depending on which one you need to take, honestly depends on your climbing speed. If you're going really fast, you want to take the left path. If you're not going fast enough, then you don't even need to bother with that. You should immediately swing to the bar on the right and then swing from it instead. So let's just talk about the easier path first, and then we'll talk about the faster path since it's going to take a little more explaining. So all you need to do is when you're swinging from this bar, what I like to do is I like to watch Astro, and just as he's passing the bar on the other side where I can't see him, that's when I let go, because that gives me the most optimal timing to let go and swing up to this next bar. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this bar. I'm going to grab it and then let go whenever Astro gets behind it where I can't hardly see him anymore. And then I will swing up to this next section. And then we're going to tilt the controller with the left side down to swing Astro over to that side. And before I start doing grabs, I actually like to tilt the controller back with the right side down and left side up, so I can grab this banana on the right and then climb up and just do 4 climbing motions on this. So that's the easier path. Now let's talk about the more difficult path that will require you to climb at fast speeds in order to be faster than going to the right side. So we need to do a little bit of math. When swinging from the right side, from the moment it takes you to let go of this first bar to grab the second bar and then grab that next banana, we're talking about 17 bananas. I felt this was a more accurate section to go from, so this is the banana I chose to be my ending point. So to get from the first bar to this point, we're going to climb 17 bananas after one swing. And it takes 68 frames from the moment that we swing from that first bar to the moment we can grab the first banana. So in order to match the right side using the 2 bars, we're going to need to grab 17 bananas in 112 frames. So we take 112 frames, divide that by the 17 bananas. That means we need to climb 6.588 bananas per second. So now we need to solve for our beats per minute to know exactly how fast we need to climb. So we're going to take the 60 seconds per minute, multiply that by the 6.588 bananas per second that we just calculated, and that is going to give us 395.28 beats per minute. So if you are climbing at this speed, it would probably be better for you to just swing on both bars in order to get a safer route that you know you can do quickly. So if you can go 400 beats per minute or faster, then it would probably be better for you to do the left side because you are going to start cutting down time, and then anything faster than that, you're going to continue cutting that time down. Once you reach the top and grab this last bar which launches you up, you just want to go straight to this wall. If you notice in my personal best that I actually shifted slightly to the right, I created a bad habit of that. Do not do that. Honestly, just go straight to this next one and then jump straight up because it is a straight line and it will save you more time to do that. And then what I like to do is I like to tilt the left side of the controller down, keep the right side up, and then I do my first grab with the left trigger and then I start climbing up. And then I go to this bar. The same thing, whenever I see Astro get behind the bar, I know I can let go, and then that will swing me up just high enough where I can grab this last banana. As this last banana is coming around, you need to grab this last bar at the most opportune moment. What I like to do is as it is coming into view, whenever I can start seeing the front of the bar, that is whenever I go for the grab, and that will give you the earliest moment that you can grab it. After that, all you have to do is just land on the button. Super easy, you don't even have to use your joystick or anything, it'll do it for you. And as always, here is a clip of my current personal best time using all of these strategies. I hope this video helped you. Sorry it took me longer to make. I just wanted to make sure that I was giving you all the information you needed to cut down your time as much as possible, because I know this is an extremely difficult stage, especially for people who did not come from Astro's Playroom and did the climbing run. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hoped it helped. And if you want to see me do some runs live, I recommend following me on Twitch. You get more rewards and more benefits. But I also do live streams on YouTube sometimes, so you can also watch them there. And with that, I will see you soon. Good luck with your runs.